Welcome to the Board Wrap-Up Show for Ponca City Public Schools. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, and Superintendent Shelley Arrott joins us for the October edition of the Board Wrap-Up Show. And we start at the very top of the meeting, as always, the board meeting, with the presentation from one of the schools in the district, Roosevelt Elementary. Lead Like Me. What is that all about?
Well, Lead Like Me is a program for student leaders throughout our district, and it's something new that we're piloting this year. At each one of our elementary schools, we identified 6 student leaders and an adult certified leader, and we brought them all together to Trout Elementary to talk about building leadership within the schools, promoting school spirit, encouraging everyone to be kind to each other, encouraging students to step up as leaders. And this was a program brought to us by COSA. It's one of our administrative groups that we belong to, and everyone got a great deal of information. And our student leaders from Roosevelt presented at the board meeting, and they talked about how they are going to implement some of the strategies they learned at Roosevelt. They're already doing some leadership activities at Roosevelt, so this program just meshed really well with what they were already doing. I'll have to tell you, the students did an excellent job. They came in, introduced themselves to the board members just like young ladies and young gentlemen. They were well prepared, well versed, and that's one of the reasons we have our students come to our board meetings.
Yeah.
Gives them an opportunity to do some public speaking, plus lets our board and our community know the great things that are going on in our school.
Yeah.
So
A lot of great things going, and of course, that presentation from Roosevelt was right after the Board of Education monthly presentations, which are very important, and let's
they
talk
are.
about those.
This was our first month for this school year of our Board of Education awards. And as you know, we honor a certified employee each month, a support employee each month, and a friend of education, someone who is not an employee. So to kick the year off, we give about a month for people to start identifying some others who go above and beyond. So our certified employee of the month for October was Zuri Mayo. She's a special education teacher in our training skills lab at Union Elementary. So she works with our students who are 3 and 4 years old. She does a great job. Our support employee of the month for October was Monique Birch. She is a federal programs and assistant and our curriculum administrative assistant. She works right here in this building, and she has been an employee with the district for many, many years. Does a great job for us. Our friends of education were Larry and Pam Regner, and they are cross-country volunteers. They wash all the uniforms after
Wow.
every meet. They serve so much in our district, not just cross-country, but they have a special heart there. They serve a lot at all of our schools as well. So we
Very good.
appreciate Larry and Pam.
Well, it's usually a busy agenda for the school board meeting in October. Certainly, is October one of the busier months? I mean, it just
Oh, they're all busy.
They're all busy. Okay. One Book, One District starts very soon, and this is always exciting. NIMS Island, and the
That's
board
right.
had an opportunity to learn more about this book in particular and how One Book, One District is continuing on.
That's right. We've participated in the One Book, One District initiative for several years, and we want to keep that going because here's our motto: a community that reads together has a lot to talk about. And I know that you participate in
Oh,
the One
absolutely.
Book, One District. Do you
Sure.
already have your book,
I
Nims
do.
Island,
I
by
do. Ready?
Wendy Orr?
Yeah.
It's a great story. It's a great story that empowers young women. Everyone will enjoy it. And just a short synopsis: Nim lives on a deserted island with her scientist father. Her mother passed away when she was very young, and she spends her time befriending the animals on the
Right.
island, and she reads adventure books that involve superheroes. Her dad goes out to study plankton, and a storm comes up, and she loses contact with him via cell phone. And Nim is very concerned, and she reaches out to one of her superheroes in one of the books via email, which happens to be the author of the book. and you'll get to read all about Nim's adventures. So
Oh, wow.
it's a great story. Starts October 22nd, and our activities will be posted on our district website. And I know you'll probably talk about it on the radio
yeah,
each
a lot.
morning.
Yeah, every day.
We purchase a book for each one of our families, grades for students grades K through 5, and they all participate in this initiative. Great activity, and our kids love it, as do all of our employees.
Oh yeah, and look for that book if you want to read along. The entire community can read along. Nim's Island. Look for that book, and of course we look forward to reading along on the radio on 100.7 FM and 99.3 FM, KLOR and KPNC, and we're going to have our chapter discussions. We always look forward to it. We were so excited when Mrs. Vogel came in to tell us all about
the Wildcat Chat.
this new book. So, all right, so let's talk about changes in school board election, talking about House Bill 2082. What does this mean?
Yes, House Bill 2082 was approved in 2018 during the legislative session, and previously we only had one school board election, a general election in February. Well, House Bill 2082 kind of changed it up depending on the number of people who file for election into a primary and a general election. So let's just say that we have only one candidate who files for the Board of Education. It can be an incumbent or it can be someone else who files. They are deemed elected and no election is held. If two candidates file for office, they appear on the ballot in the general election, and this year it's on April 2nd, 2019. So previously that's always been in February. However, if 3 or more candidates file for office, their names will appear on a ballot in the primary election in February. That's on February the 12th. And if none of the 3 or more get more than 50% of the vote, they'll then go to a general election in April. So depending on the number of filees depends on if there's a primary and a general election.
Okay.
If you have 3 or more filees who file and one receives more than 50% of the vote in the primary election in February, they're deemed elected.
Oh, wow. Okay. The consent agenda, is this just like a formality for contracts under 10,000?
We always have many items on our consent agenda, and the consent agenda's purpose is for the board to approve contracts for less than $10,000. If a contract is for more than $10,000, it goes on the regular board agenda.
Okay.
The
Right.
consent agenda is just an appendix to the board agenda, and we have many items on our consent agenda every month, and we also approved our district financial reports. And I will tell you, this month, for the first time that I can remember, there were no contracts over $10,000.
Wow.
So all the contracts were on the consent agenda.
Interesting. This is the board wrap-up show as we recap the October Ponca City Public Schools school board meeting with Superintendent Shelley Arrott, and moving through the list of items from this October meeting. Consideration and taking actions, consideration of and taking actions on revised Board of Education policies. What exactly did that mean?
Well, each year we update our policies. We have a law firm, a school law firm that happens to be our policy writers. And depending on legislation and things that we request or something like that, we have revised board policies. And typically these are always presented at the September agenda, which they were this past time. Curtis Layton did the board wrap-up show for me last month. And this gives the public an opportunity to weigh in on these board policies. We give just a summary in September, and if there's no public comment or no revisions, we approve these policies, or the board approves these policies at the October meeting. We did have a couple of revisions. One was in advertising in district media and at district facilities. Small little tweak there. We also had a change in wireless telecommunication devices and electronic accounts. If employees communicate through their own Facebook or their own private email, regarding a student or anything that has to do with public school, Ponca City Public Schools, that documentation may be subject to the Open Records Act. So now we advise our employees to retain any records on their private accounts. We encourage them to only talk about school issues through their school email account, and everyone has that. We also made a change to the grievance procedure for filing, processing, and resolving complaints alleging discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. And the board had a couple of options. They could preside over the hearing, retain the rights to hear the hearing. They can appoint a hearing officer, or they can decide. They retain their rights to hear the as hearing, or they can appoint a hearing officer. And our board decided to retain the rights to hear all grievance appeals.
Okay.
We also had a change regarding expectations of staff under social media. All of our parents, whenever they enroll through our portal, our enrollment portal and our student information system, Power School, there is a parent permission form, and parents can elect whether we can advertise their students in the newspaper, in the yearbook, on our social media page, on our website. We like to get that good news out as often as possible, but some people don't want their children advertised, so they elect at that time, yes, they can participate in district activities and be publicized on official district sites or not. So we actually had to strike a sentence from the original board policy for personal protection. Never take a photo of an individual student. And you've seen our district Facebook page, and there's the PC Wildcat Sports Zone. There are some excellent pictures, and parents advertise through these websites, and we want to give our students recognition. So we did strike that clause. We think we're protected we know we're protected through our parent permission in Power School. So we didn't want to limit that policy to be so limiting that people couldn't post their pictures at any of our events. Oftentimes I'll be at a football game and take a picture of the band and post it. And that would limit me from doing that. So
very good.
We always check before we publicize any picture to make sure that all the students in the picture have been allowed to be publicized.
Very good. Well, several events upcoming. The board considered what actions to take for events that were upcoming.
We have several events in November. American Education Week is November 12th through 16th, and this is a time for us to honor everyone who is involved with ensuring that every student receives a quality education. It's just a good time to recognize our people. We also have National Education Support Personnel Day. This is in conjunction with American Education Week, and the National Support Personnel Day is November 14th, which is the Wednesday, and that's where we will honor our support personnel. These are people who aren't certified educators, our bus drivers, our CMP, our TAs, our maintenance people, because without them, they truly support our mission. We could not make education attainable for our students without the support of our support personnel. So we certainly want to recognize and honor them. Also, November is National American Indian Heritage Month, and this is a month to celebrate and recognize cultures, intertribal cultures, and to educate the public about the heritage, the culture, the art, and the tradition of the American Indian and the Alaska Native people. And then one more event in November is Celebrate Freedom Week, and that's November 11th through 17th. This typically occurs during the week of Veterans Day. It helps to better educate students about the sacrifices made for freedom in this country and the values on which our country was founded.
Nice. Very good. Very busy month coming up.
We do. We have a lot of events.
Well, the Board of Education meeting continued on considering and taking action on a resolution to K County Election Board calling for the annual election of a Board of Education member in Ward number 4. Can you explain this?
That's right. We have to file with the K County Election Board no later than November 16th. If we are going to have a board election, and we do that every single year. So we went ahead and took care of that in our October meeting. It's kind of close for comfort for our November meeting. And Ward 4 will be open this year. It's currently held by Dr. David Kincaid. And that office is a 5-year term. It will run from 2019 to 2024, so it's a pretty great commitment, and our board members are dedicated individuals who commit to a lengthy time on the board, and I'm telling you, our board does whatever it takes to support what's best for our students. The filing period will run from 8 a.m. on Monday, December 3rd, to 5 p.m. on Wednesday, December 5th of this year. So anyone who out there is interested in running for school board may file with K County Election Board.
Very good. The 2018-2019 Ponca City Public Schools District Site Improvement Title I plans. This is something that's required every year.
Each year, we are required to update and make changes to our site improvement plans or our Title I plans, which they're the same thing if the school is a Title I school. And basically, these updates are comprised of actions that we're going to take to improve academic success for our students based on our current data or our current reality.
Very good. Change orders, credit or debit, all were credits.
That's a very good thing. Oftentimes,
that's unusual, isn't it?
With our facilities, we always have contingency funds in case a project goes over for whatever reason. And if it goes over, it's a change order, and if it comes in under, it's a change order. Whenever we have a capital update, we always have a guaranteed maximum price, and sometimes it's over and sometimes it's under. Sometimes there are things we can't foresee until you get in and make those changes. So we had some leftover contingency funds not used in package 1 of the concert hall of about $26,000. We also had some leftover contingency funds from the West Middle School remodel of not quite $20,000, and then the new football locker room just to the east end zone. We had about $115,000 of contingency funds left over, which makes for a total of about $161,000. And you may ask where that money will go.
Right.
It could be that it will stay with our projects, because without a doubt there will be a project that will cost more than was anticipated. So it's always a good thing to get a change order credit back.
Yeah, good. All credits, no debits, and to be prepared.
This month.
This month, right. To be prepared, a very good thing.
That's right. And a couple of things that I'd like to tell the public. Today is Monday, October 15th. This Thursday and Friday is fall break for Ponca City Public Schools, and lots of schools in the state. So we will not be in school. Employees will not be here, and our students will not be here. I will send out a notification via the app on Wednesday afternoon reminding everyone. However, we still play varsity football at Bartlesville Thursday night, even though we're off that night. 7 o'clock at Bartlesville.
All right, want to bring home that trophy. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of the Board Wrap-Up Show with Shelley Arrott, the Superintendent of Ponca City Public Schools. Until next month, I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Thank you for watching.